In fact, good evening, Doug. Thanks very much for your time. Just tell us what happened in court today with Beatrice Mthethwa.
So this morning a ruling was handed down by the magistrate Ngoni Nduna. Last week the state had made an application to have Beatrice Mthethwa disqualified as Hopewell's lead counsel on the basis that she has scandalized the court. That the ruling was handed down today, not only disqualifying Mrs. Mthethwa from representing Hopewell, but also calling on the prosecuting authority to consider instituting criminal proceedings against her, and also forwarding the judgment to the Law Society. For the Law Society to investigate Mrs. Mthethwa.
So this scandalizing the court, am I correct that it's basically questioning the judgments of the court and the impartiality of the court? What exactly did she do wrong in their eyes?
Well, this is the very odd thing about this case, is that it's premised on a Facebook page or it's comments made on a Facebook page, which is not owned by Beatrice. It is not Beatrice's Facebook page, and it seems that was accepted by both the state and the magistrate. It's a Facebook page about a documentary that was made about Beatrice some years ago called Beatrice Mthethwa and the Rule of Law, and it is run by the filmmakers who are based in Boston, and who Beatrice has absolutely no control over. But they say the reasoning of the court was, well, the documentary was made to promote her and her work, and she's aware that this Facebook page exists, and therefore she must be held accountable for whatever is said on that Facebook page. As far as the content of the Facebook page, it was essentially saying that justice is compromised in Zimbabwe, and anyone could be abducted or arrested in the manner that Hopewell was arrested. They also raised some issues around a letter that she had written, but the letter was actually criticizing the prosecutor rather than the magistrate. So how that scandalizes the court is anyone's guess.
So does that mean that Hopewell Chinono is this evening still sitting in Harare's maximum security Chikurubi prison tonight?
Yes, so Hopewell, as well as Jacob Ngarivume and others, are still in custody. This was, there's been a series of delays in trying to have this second bail application made. The bail application was started today, but that is now being held in camera. By order of the court, so no one is allowed in. It's not a public hearing. I'm allowed to sit in there as one of his counsel, but I can't speak about that, unfortunately, because of that order of the court, that those proceedings are in camera.
All right, no, I understand that and respect that. I had a look at the Zimbabwean constitution, because here in South Africa, our constitution is so central to big legal decisions. And it seems to enshrine a number of really important rights. Awaiting trial prisoners must be released unconditionally while awaiting trial, unless there are strong conditions for keeping her or him in prison. There's freedom of assembly and association, which is the right to demonstrate peacefully, express grievances. The freedom of conscience, which is the freedom of thought, opinion, religion or belief. Freedom of expression and the media. So we read all these things. It looks absolutely brilliant on paper. How is the court not embracing the Constitution? What am I missing?
Look, these are the concerns that we as lawyers, as human rights activists have been raising for years now, that we have a constitution which in many ways is very progressive, borrows heavily from South Africa's progressive constitution, particularly our Bill of Rights is very comprehensive, but it is not being implemented, it's not being respected. It is routinely ignored and processes adopted as if it doesn't exist, and we are still in the era pre the 2013 Constitution.
Tomorrow you are in court, and I understand that it's because you were caught reading Pedagogy of the Oppressed, which is a 1968 work by Brazilian educator Paulo Freire. Is that really the charge against you?
So that is the basis of the basis of the charge. The legal charge is participating in a gathering with intent to promote public violence, breaches of the peace, or bigotry. How on earth reading a book that has been in the public domain has been central to Zimbabwe's education curriculum in the soon after independence, how that constitutes promoting public violence is anyone's guess. But that is the nature of many of these cases. We could say the same for Hopewell Chin'ono, who's merely been reporting on corruption and has been reporting on citizens' efforts to hold peaceful protests.
So tomorrow you're in court. Beatrice Mtetwa was going to represent you. Now that she's scandalized the court, what happens to her and what happens to you? Will you have to represent yourself?
So Beatrice, the ruling, today's ruling only applies to Beatrice's representation of Hopewell in that case. And so, for all intents and purposes, we are proceeding on the assumption that she will be allowed to represent myself and my co-accused. But we will see whether that is the case when we get to court. But we assume she will be allowed to represent us.
Well, thank you very much, Doug Coltart. He's one of the lawyers for jailed Zimbabwean journalist Hopewell Chinono.